uncomfortable smiles. Like, that's how you can tell that my picture's being taken.
Maybe it has to be hidden.
Yeah, like just
like the natural
candid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
I feel like now you need more space.
We're good. How is everybody today? We hope that you're doing really well.
Yes.
On this Friday, we're almost 11:11.
Is it? Oh yeah, time-wise.
Time-wise.
I was like, what's happening?
Wasn't it scary when you looked at the calendar this morning? I found it like, what? March 1st.
Hello. Yeah.
Oh
Definitely.
my God.
It went I mean, I feel like we say that, like I say this all the time. Like, the time is going so fast.
Right?
But it is.
But it is going fast.
It is. It's definitely speeding up.
Of course, we love the time that's coming. I don't know about you guys, but spring. Yes, one of our favorite seasons. Everything's growing and blossoming.
Green, yeah, like the flowers poking through. That first time, you're just like, yes.
Yes.
And then you think you can like wear this kind of outfit, but like you really can't yet. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, as soon as it's like 48 or something, the flip-flops comes out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the sandals. I'm a rebel that way. And I wear them all the way through October.
Do you? Yeah.
I hate shoes.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't really like wearing socks and shoes that much, but I'm like the opposite. Like, I really hate sandals and flip-flops too.
Really?
Yeah, like I'll wear them, but I'm very like, I'll still wear sneakers and socks, like even on the slightly like chilly day. I like my feet protected.
Oh, and I like mine exposed.
Yeah.
See that, EP? You never know what you're gonna be hearing at the conversation.
Flip-flops or socks.
So, as you guys know, we really don't plan too much when we are going to do a share. We just kind of talk for a couple of minutes about what's going on, like what's been on our plates or around us over the last week kind of thing, right? Yeah. And we wanted to take a few minutes to kind of retouch mildly a topic that we discussed in our last live stream last week, which was like rip off, scammy, spiritual teacher kind of stuff, right? Just being mindful, right? For those of you who are on my channel, I put up a video yesterday. It was just really upsetting to meet someone who had a horrific story about being like ultra scammed, by a spiritualist, thousands of dollars. And it wasn't even only the money, it was the trauma.
Yeah.
The trauma that she went through. And apparently, you asked me something, it went on for weeks. I remember now that.
Okay. It was that sounds like years.
No. It was a couple of weeks.
So just to like, for those of you who didn't see Blanca's video, she had a new person she was working with who just this week, right? Like it happened just after yesterday. The conversation. Yeah, that's just why we wanted to bring it up again.
Yeah, just yesterday.
Blanca was quite heightened. Like
I was.
She was like, who's messing with you? Like but essentially this client who's now working with Blanca recently, new to you, was kind of taken in a very disempowering and fear-based kind of way for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, what was it, 1,700 or
17,000?
17,000. That's like insane. So I was wondering, was this over like 10 years time?
No,
like that kind of thing?
No, it was over a couple of weeks. And, I don't know the details, like how that's, I would imagine that there must have been some suggestions made that, you needed like heavy duty, cleansing or whatever kind of work that must have equated to, thousands of dollars, 5,000 or whatever, Anyway, it's not so much the money, although, of course, like you said, that's the down payment for a car. You can actually buy a car for 17,000. But what really heightens me is that kind of energy would even have the audacity to go under the spiritual umbrella. You follow? Because, you know, there's cause and effect, by the way. You know, there's going to be a big hit on that side sooner or later, because the universe has a perfect balance. But it's just really sad. It gets me really upset because we're doing so much work to maintain this field and to allow people to feel safe to step into it. So we just kind of wanted to touch base on it once again to just, you know, there's common red flags that we can identify if you're looking to connect with someone, right? Integrity, go look at their website, see if there's reviews, you know, there should be, you know, they have a following, you know, look at their Facebook page, run as fast as you can if somebody starts to intimidate you, to instill fear and say that you have bad energy.
Yeah.
And a light worker who comes from integrity will never present themselves that way.
Yeah.
Or I would think, you know, express themselves in that manner.
Yeah. I see a lot of like I keep saying the word scammy. Mercury retrograde is basically here, and like my words are not as nice as I'd like them to be. Sometimes we call it scammy, but I see a lot of scammy stuff with past life stuff, like go to a healer, go to get a reading or something like that, and you're just kind of open, and they start talking about like, oh, in a past life you were this, you have to repay this, you like all this stuff, and you're like, what? You know, like maybe you've had some trouble sleeping, maybe you've had something going on, so that's why you go, and it's like, or you know, relationships or something,
right? Past life,
right?
Regression.
And it's like, oh, we have to go back, and it's just like, what? You know, like, I don't know. I'm very touchy. I'm very like guarded with past life stuff, you know.
And I love that you brought that up, because there are two. And again, look, God bless. We always say this. There's no right or wrong. Accept this if it resonates. You know, we have been doing this work together for, you know, 30, 40 years.
Yeah, together combined.
You know, combined.
Yeah, the bulk of that, but yeah.
So we speak from experience, you know, but of course you take what resonates. Somebody should not be throwing at you that you need a life regression with only one meeting or one phone conversation. And the reason being is because they don't know you well enough, you know, and it doesn't even matter that people can read energy. They should not be presenting that.
Yeah.
And I'm a big stickler about that in the shamanic classes we learned, right? And I stuck it in there.
I talk about that all the time. Yeah.
Learn, you spend time getting to know someone. Those type of deep healings may not be necessary. And the truth is, we want to consciously heal. And we save those deep healing modalities when we've tried everything else and it doesn't work.
Yeah. Like,
you know, and then nothing else has worked.
Right. I think I actually had this conversation recently with Josh. I don't know if Josh is tuning in. He was tuning in last time, where we talked about like past life regression. And I shared like what you've told us about past life regression and stuff in the class. And it's like, or I think we call it something different. I'm kind of confusing the terms now.
Soul retrieval.
Yeah, soul retrieval. And like the difference between a fragmentation, which is a bit lighter, you know, and like a deep soul retrieval. And like, why don't we do that? Because in YouTube world, you know, like you see a lot of, you know, and everywhere else, I guess it's just that I'm on YouTube more. You see things like that, like past life regression, soul, blah, blah, you know, and it's like, I don't think people are aware of how dangerous that can be. And I gave the example that you shared with a client, with a younger male client who had a lot of stuff going on. And after many times of working together, you decided, you know, this was the best thing, and how you went back and this person was on fire. And like, if you're in a hypnosis kind of regressed state, I'm saying hypnosis, we were talking about hypnosis, so we were like, I think I'm using those terms a little too much. And you go back and you have a vision or the thing where you're on fire. Like, what's happening on the table? How uncomfortable are you? How afraid are you? Like, you need to have someone there that knows what they're doing. And you can't just know that from just talking to someone. You know what I mean? So
That
I
drives
do lots
me
of stuff.
crazy.
Yeah. There are lighter ways to do it. You know, like you can work with the past. Like, don't get me wrong. Like in Reiki, we work with the past and soul fragmentation work.
Right.
I'm very comfortable there. Like that's not a problem for me. But I've never done it, and I wouldn't do it. You know, like the deep level of like bringing someone back to some traumatic past life, because like it hasn't come up. Like it shouldn't probably come up. You know what I mean? How many of those would you do in a year?
It shouldn't come up.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. It shouldn't come up unless it's not a game to, you know, like the dice that we, you know, throw the dice and what comes out.
Yeah.
You know, like, what's going to happen?
Oh, what's my card for the day? Oh.
You know, we become the most empowered when we do conscious work, when we do conscious healing, when we do conscious practice. And we definitely can reach out to someone to guide us in that direction. And only when, after doing all of that conscious work, if we discover that there's something amiss, you know, that we have a void or this, you know, we just don't feel whole, then perhaps at that point, if we've been working with somebody who's intimately spent time with us, should we then consider opening the door to those deeper, you know, because at the end of the day, the trust factor is what's vital. Yeah. You know, to know that you can trust someone and that somebody's not going to run away, you know, in the middle of that traumatic experience. Right. And what happens now?
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah,
like,
no, we don't, you know, it's deep stuff. So we were talking about red flags, you know, take your time, don't be hasty, you know, and running quickly to, you know, because you want to get an answer, because you want to get the reading, because you want to do this, whatever.
Or you want to see a result. Like sometimes people might be doing their own practice or working on themselves, but they bring in like the work of like a spiritual or intuitive healer type support because they're impatient, because they want like a spell or a ritual or something that's gonna, you know, make them win the lottery next week or meet the man of their dreams or like, and it's like, that's not stuff that you rush, you know, like it's just, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's not gimmicky. If there's anyone you're working with who promises that in 2 weeks you're going to have this or that, like red flag, you know?
Yes. There's a lot of red flags, you know, look for people who are on YouTube, you know, like ourselves, who offer things for free, you know. And the reason why I say that is because, again, it's easy to catch people who may be doing this for just the financial gain, you know. And most likely if they're doing it for financial gain, you know, because they're scammers, then you're not going to see much of like generous offerings, you know, just because.
Or if they want to know too much about you too, you know, like if they want to know like your birth chart, let's say, you know, like I want to know the time you were born and the location, you know, like that kind of stuff. Because you can pull a lot of information from someone's chart, which is helpful if you're an astrologer and like it works that way. But otherwise, they can just be kind of like taking pieces and saying it's like an intuitive guidance, but like it's actually coming from, you know, a very, you know what I'm trying to say, like a easy to look up kind of way. Like if I know you're an Aquarius, but I know a little bit more about your placements, I could be like, oh, well, do you experience this? And you're like, oh shit, you know me, you know, like, and it's like, no, actually, I peeked at your, you know what I mean? Like that chart, kind of thing. I mean, granted, of course, you would visit an astrologer or somebody would be like, okay, I looked at your chart. Is it okay? Can I have that information? Not just, I feel like it's very intrusive to like look at someone's whole chart without them like having the permission. That said, though, I do usually ask for people's birthdays so that I can talk to them about, you know, like North Node stuff or something, but not like the location, the time of birth, you know, like all of that stuff. It's just like if they want to know, we'll chat about it kind of thing. But it's forthcoming.
Yes. And so we're gonna kind of leave from that to
just a reminder.
Empowerment. And I don't know, I was calling it, so you can add, of course, Loon, but how do we gain our greatest empowerment through our delivery, through our presence, you know? And we could apply this to anything from a professional, whether you're a light worker looking to be like a coach, or relationships, just working on, improving your relationships. We know that there's a lot of vulnerability there, right? When we're trying to have a conversation or communicate, how we can lose our empowerment by our delivery.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like our delivery.
You're not being received how you're trying to be received, right? Is it like is that what you'd say? Like in terms of losing it?
I guess there's no right or wrong, but when I think of delivery is your approach. In other words, energy doesn't lie. Is where I start. I like to start. We can be like, hello, how are you? And if there's something behind, in my energetic field that I'm upset or angry, people viewing it may very well catch it, and say like, oh, she's a little off today, or I'm just not feeling her the way I usually do. Right.
Just picking it up.
Because energetically, our energy fields speak in volume more so than anything else that we could be doing, communicating, talking, presenting something, smiling. So, our delivery then is very important, especially if we're trying to establish a platform or creating a foundation. Yes, would you?
Yeah. Would you like to give an example maybe of
Well, sometimes we feel that we need to take a stance in order, the healing arts is a great example, actually. We've had to create a platform over the last couple of decades, explaining. And so imagine if I came on, because I was frustrated that it's not, the platform is not building fast enough. Say, I'm going to get you guys because you're not learning this quick enough. Right? I'm upset that you guys are not getting it soon enough. What would that do?
Yeah, it would make you feel like, oh, I'm not good enough.
Right? Run, right? I'm clearly not going to attract you.
Yeah.
By that vibe. Right? And so I'm not saying that we shouldn't be, I think the key words, assertive. We should be assertive. What we shouldn't be is aggressive.
Yeah.
See, and their
aggression is a deeply rooted. We will withdraw from aggression. Like if we feel aggression from someone, either we have it in us to just it brings out the aggressive nature back in ourselves, like the aggressive defensive kind of thing, or it just is, you're like, ooh, let me get away. That person's too aggressive.
Right?
Yeah, I noticed that I'm certainly very pull back from aggressive energy in general. But you can see it in communication, like you said, with relationships and stuff. And I say it all the time, but if I'm talking to my partner and I want, and he hears it from me, don't get me wrong. But I also know that there's an approach that I can take it where I will be heard instead of shut down. I think of when people write in all caps and you're like, why is this person yelling at me? You can't,
right.
You can't even,
that's a good example.
You can't even take the time really to read it because you just feel like they're screaming at you. Or if you have a message to get across, if it's ooh, F-bomb this, F-bomb that,
right.
or whatever. It just isn't the best receipt. I don't know. It's we can't really tell people how they should be, because I'm sure, some people just have that kind of quality to them. But what is the purpose? Are you trying to be a boot camp coach? Or are you trying to nurture someone and support? Or are you trying to be validated? Or are you trying to share what you have to offer? If you're a boot camp kind of, I don't know, exercise
and you're
thing,
right.
maybe,
and
maybe
right.
that comes up, needs the aggressive.
There is no right or wrong, because, some people get turned on. I see a lot of this on Facebook, where we'll call them coaches. It could be anything. We'll call them coaches. We'll use, the bomb word, like every other, get your ass, right? And some people love it. You go. Tell us. Yeah. That's right. Let's go. Right. Yeah. And some people don't mind that, that we have to use bomb words, to get a point across. And that's what I'm saying. There may be a fine line. Maybe it is a little fire.
Yeah.
However, that's not necessarily what I'm kind of like talking about. I'm talking about almost like being defensive and feeling like, like you need to, be angry about taking a stance because you're taking things personal. Like, listen, if you are trying to build a platform for yourself or for a cause, I love what you said, and again, we don't talk about this for more than 3 minutes before the cameras go on, but you mentioned earlier that we're always going to have the troll.
Yeah.
Right.
You're always, especially if you're in anywhere on the internet or you're out or you're available, you're going to get trolled. Like, we're all going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to call you a fake. They're going to call me full of shit. Like, people are going to do that. And like, you have to know that like there's just people out there stirring you up. And that's just, they're part of something that's going on with them. It's better to just like, so when people I'll have a whole thing of comments on my new video, right? And I'll like be scrolling through, and there was one time I replied first to somebody who was like kind of nasty. Like, I was just like, and right away someone commented under like, really, this is the comment you replied to? And I was like, dude, you're right. Like, why am I replying to this? All these people left me these beautiful things. Like, they're who I should pay attention to. Not that I have to defend myself, or that kind of thing. And it was just all I needed. Just
that's
that one person.
Right? And that's perfect.
Yeah. And I was like, thank you. Like, thank you for like calling me out, because it like made a lot of sense. Like, really, this is what I'm feeding right now. Like,
totally.
People are going to do that.
You know what? When I first started posting online, I had a similar situation. And I remember my partner actually telling me exactly that, saying, what are you doing? Like, if you can't handle this one, how do you expect to handle when, you have thousands of them? And, the more we expand in our platform, whatever it is, our message, even if we're just living authentically. So this could be applied on many different levels.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be like public figure.
Exactly. Even if you're just trying to be more authentic in your life, you may have friends and family members who may become a troll and say like, what's up with you?
Yeah.
And you're fake. And, like, that's not who I know. And, and the bigger message of all that we're sharing with this topic is, do we really realize what's happening, which is that you're being redirected? Your focus, just like Loon said about her one little message versus all these great messages she had, you're being redirected, and you have just lost your empowerment in whatever platform you are trying to work on, because you let this one person or this one situation just completely derail you, and now all of a sudden you're angry, now all of a sudden you're spewing.
And you're talking about it. Oh, that's like talking to you. Blanca, I got this message. Blah, 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 blah. Somebody's telling me, sharing it. It's like, it's very important to know, like, when you're in this realm of just trying to preserve yourself or trying to do good, let alone spiritual, let alone helping others, all of this stuff, like, your time and your energy is so important, and you're feeding anything you do. Even if you feel like you're fighting it, you're feeding it. I think that is so often missed in like certain fights. And don't get me wrong, like, there needs to be fights for stuff like human rights, like, yes, like all of these things, like, obviously, but when it comes to things that feel personal, when they're not, or when it comes to just like some troll like coming in and throwing you off of your day, it's like, why let this in? Why fight? Like, why create a fight that you didn't have before, but now you have this whole new thing? And it's funny, like, someone's actually popping in my head now, and I hope that if they're watching it, they're not thinking that we're talking about them necessarily, but it is a good lesson for that person if it does come up, of just like, your inner peace should be your guide. Like, if you don't feel close or like moving towards a sense of peace, a sense of rising above, of ascension, of being like, I don't care what anybody says, I'm still gonna do that, or I'm still okay, then we're, I'm trying to say, sorry, again, not really coming out.
No,
it's just important. It's something to be very, very, very mindful of, because fighting doesn't necessarily mean that you're counteracting it. You're only kind of building it up more and more on that meeting kind of section. Am I saying that?
I love that. Absolutely. And the inner peace, what you're talking about is so true, because whatever we're building on should feel peace. And by the way, doesn't mean that we don't, like you said, encounter challenges and obstacles that make us frustrated along the way. But if we have to put our gloves on, then we're not moving energetically in the right direction. I'm sorry. We're not. If you feel like you have to put, like the boxing gloves on and constantly, be ready, then what you're telling the universe really is send me more fights. Send me more battles. I'm a fighter now. Exactly. And there's a fine line, because again,
it's the approach is what you said. It's the approach of it. It's not to say, I've actually been watching, I'm gonna mess up her name, but this individual, I'm following her on Instagram. She I think last year put up this whole, it's like white supremacy and me. It's a touchy subject, right? And it talks about like how to be an ally, and like these are conversations that I want to have. Like I want to learn to be a better ally. I know that I don't have the experience of, like, let's say discussing race so that I feel comfortable with it. Maybe people start talking about race and I just feel like so out of place, or like that I almost feel defensive, or like, that's not me though. I'm not bad. And it's like, that's not the point. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, so anyway, there's a workbook called like White Supremacy and Me. I mentioned it on Patreon too. It's really helpful if you want to start to be more comfortable discussing these kind of things. But this person who I'm talking about is so graceful, is so strong in her communication, is so helpful. She's not there to tell me that I suck or that I'm bad. She's here to be like, look, take a look at this. Take a look at this and then come back to me. You know what I mean? Or take a look at this and you don't need to tell me anything. I'm good. Keep this and make sure that you have it for when someone else is, you know what I like, that kind of thing. And it's just like, it's such a beautiful example of something that somebody could take to such a fight, but it's done in such grace. It's done in such support that it's actually making tons of progress, like touching tons. And she had like 70,000 downloads in like a few, like, it's just incredible, you know? So anyway.
And there it is. I love that, because you're saying gracefully. And again, it goes back to our delivery. You know, if we want to be, we don't need to be aggressive. We don't need to put our gloves, and we don't need to be emotional either, you know, to the extreme.
It is hard, isn't it? Especially this time of year, especially Pisces season. We're all a little emotional,
And by the way, again, we're not boxing anything, because there are times and there are situations when we do feel like we need to. And by the way, maybe there are those times when we do need to be emotional and say like, look, but I really need to explain this, and maybe I just need to cry right now. Right?
Yeah, it takes a vulnerable strength, you know, or
and yet, and vulnerability. What we're talking is about creating your platform, your, you know, having a presence, and your delivery in that presence, being authentic, but also being mindful that, you know, we don't have to be these extremes of aggressiveness or defensive or judgmental, you know, because at the end of the day, we may think we were trying to make a point or to help somebody or whatever, or cause, but energetically, we have to ingest those feelings within ourselves in order to express them. Right? So that means that if you need to present something angry, you have to ingest anger. And now that anger is moving through you, through your organs, through your energy field. Do you get that? Right?
It's lingering in it when it you're gonna feel anger, you know, like you're gonna feel anger, like those are certainly gonna come up in our life. But when it's like this feeling like it's a self-feeding kind of like circular kind of thing, if we're just kind of
I guess in that maybe an easy way, I love analogies, you guys know that, is sometimes to take a mirror and look at ourselves as we are ingesting a feeling. Look at yourself in the mirror and see if you like what you see. And ask yourself if what you're ingesting is to your highest good at that moment.
And is it serving, is it serving to share? I think that we have an issue with like social media. Like it gives such you got something to say? Well, you can go on YouTube Live and you can say it. Or like my dad, like I had to unfollow my dad on Facebook because he gets political, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's intrusive to me, or even embarrassing a little. Like I hate to say that, but I'm like, oh, Dad, come on. This is not the place for that. This is not, it's like when you go on Facebook, we've all seen this. We've all been guilty of it, maybe even, but like, where it's like this complain fest. I had to wait this long to get my coffee. There's so much traffic over here. And it's just like, what am I? Do we need to know? I had Michelle, who you met the other day.
Oh, yes.
She was like laughing because she teaches, and she's like, do your friends really need to see your bagel? Do you love when you see someone else's bagel and your thing? And it just made me think of like, we have so much access to share. Why aren't we being mindful of what we're sharing as well? Like you can share whatever you want, but can you make it in a way that it's serving?
And this is a great subject. And again, we didn't plan on, right? But the other side of the spectrum to that is that I've read a lot about and that I endorse is there's a lot. I'm gonna be blunt. There's a lot of fakeness also in social media, like all these great pictures. Oh, yeah. And I'm so happy. Yeah. Look at me smile. And I'm so sexy. Yeah. And meanwhile, my life is falling apart. I'm depressed. And it became a very emotional subject. And a young celebrity who committed suicide a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago. And she would constantly put up little videos of, how wonderful her life was. Meanwhile, she committed suicide. And so what are we saying? Like, and why is this all coming up? Authenticity. We don't need to impress anybody, and even though social media it's an incredible, it's an indescribable format for us to be able to communicate. Look what we've been able to do. Oh my God. And people around the world, vast information readily available. But we also have to be mindful that in some ways it has replaced television, like the new age, new world says like, oh yes, I don't watch television, because it's this, that, but we've sort of replaced it, if we're not mindful, with a lot of gossip, a lot of bullshit, a lot of lies, a lot of fakeness, a lot of over dramatizing, right? And so just being mindful that the quality of your social media should also be important, because all of this is energy. All of this is feeding you, and it's feeding you big time, right? Because, and we were taking all of this in. I don't know about you, but when I open up I'm a Facebook girl, first and foremost, because it was around. I'm a MySpace girl. Yeah, well, slowly becoming another type of girl, but like it was my platform. Yeah. But when I open it up, I love it to a great degree because it's all spiritual stuff that comes up. I make sure that my friends,
you're patrolling over there.
I patrol. Yeah, that's a great word.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I'll get a little troll in there, and it's like, oh, how'd you slip in here? Delete. How do we unfriend this? Because we could say that there's a judgment in that. Well, guess what?
Boundaries.
There isn't. Exactly.
Yeah, you need boundaries.
I want to be able to sit in front of that platform and feel fueled, feel inspired, feel like, wow, you put up a great message that spoke to me, that got me out of a rut, or, just inspired me to do a video or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on there and say like, yeah, I hate those people too.
Yeah. I'm not in traffic, but man, I hate traffic. I don't want whatever.
I hate traffic. I hate people. I hate the mornings. I hate night. I hate the cold. I hate the hot. I hate you.
Yeah. It's too much. It is.
Right.
It's like too. It's all about balance. It's all about like being very aware of of the beauty of those fields, but also of how we can overdo it, how we can overshare, how this isn't necessarily helping anyone. And if we need to cry, if we need to be like, dude, I need some support. Hey guys, can you send me some love? I need some help right now. Or I'm working on something. I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to bring that here. Or let me validate my experience. Like that's a much more authentic way of bringing something up that's unpleasant without like, you know, like it being like aggressive, maybe is like the word that we were using. But you can also, you know, always twist. You can always, I feel for me when I'm sharing with other people or I'm making a post or something, no matter what, whether it's a picture of Bamba or talking about traffic or whatever it is, I feel like I can always think about it, give myself a moment, think about it, and turn it into a helpful message of some kind. Talking about patience, talking about my fur baby and how much he helps me every day. You know, like whatever it is, you can take the lesson and share the lesson. Or even share, like, I don't know what the lesson is in this, but you know what? Like, I'm open for it. And I know that there is a lesson. And check back with me in a week because I bet I'll have it by then. You know what I mean? Like, we can always take that kind of balanced, supportive role. And, like, in Kabbalah, you know, like the tree of life. Well, there's, like, the evil tree, too. You know, you're feeding one of these fields here. We're always feeding one of these fields here on Earth. Like, why not feed? It's not even like I want to feed either of them almost because I want the harmony. You know, it's almost like if there's too much good, is there the necessary
you're saying that
evil,
not feed any of them because, you know, the truth is, even if we were doing everything perfectly, okay, you know, you have the best, you know, pages, all of the spiritual stuff, you meditate every day. The truth is that because we share the earth and the energies of all those that we interact with, we're bound to be confronted with some kind of negativity or some kind of challenge, even if you do everything perfect, right?
Yeah.
So with that said, why would we want to add to it? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stay on your side of the block, do your, whatever, the street.
Yeah.
Do your work the best you can, because even with your best, you know, the ebb and flow of
duality that's present here.
Somebody that you know, a family member or coworker or something is going to throw a curveball that is going to do a little this.
You have to. Like, what else would life be? Like, if it's not, you know.
But when we add to it, now we've created, you know, like, do we really need to add to it? And again, it's going back to, you know, being defensive, you know, being aggressive, thinking that we need to be angry or to bash at people or to go chasing people. But do we really have to add to it? You know what? How is that going to help you? How is that going to help you, your purpose, your calling, your life, your anything, everything? It's not. Because life is going to throw you challenges no matter what, right?
Yeah. No matter what, you're going to deal with death.
Sometimes
you're going to deal with heartache.
Yeah.
Or you're going to get, like, something's going to happen no matter what, no matter how perfect you could ever be. You know, it's just how it is. And if that's the life you want, maybe you should go be a monk or something. You know, like, really remove yourself from the field of duality. You know, I don't know, something like that.
I was going to say, actually, not too long ago, about a week or two, I remember getting up and saying, like, wow, I feel fabulous. Great day at the office. I know I was just feeling really high.
I had a day like that yesterday. Right? Yeah, I was like,
and then my son, you know, had car issues and he was puking a little bit and I don't know, something was going on with Steve. I don't remember even what it was, but it was like, and suddenly I felt like, wait a minute, I'm being invaded. You know, like, I'm good, but there's shit happen around me. And
in your house.
Right? And so my point with that is, right, that even when we're doing our best, you know.
You have to just be prepared for that, I guess, and just take it with grace. Like, that's kind of the thing, you know. I mean, it's all choice, like, but I know that's where I want to be. Like, that's the field that I want to hold. I feel like, especially as a practitioner, you know, when I'm working with people for like level 1 or level 2 Reiki, sometimes they come up, you know, very often they'll come up with the question of like, do I have to be balanced to do this? Like, do I have to be? And it's like, no. Like, the short answer is no. You know, like, you're focusing on being a conduit, or you're focused on the session, or, you know, you're channeling. Like, you don't have to have a perfect life to be a healer, is what I'm trying to say. You know, you can still experience anger, you can still experience crap that comes up, but as you develop your practice, you just learn to live that way more, you know, and that adds to your own authentic vibration of balance and alignment. So now you can walk into a room, not even trying, and like, it's just sending off that like really pleasant, aligned sort of energy wave, you know, where people feel safe around you, or people want to tell you things, or just smile, you know, like just something like that. I don't really know where I was going with this, but it's more of like, I see it a lot with the pressure to be balanced, to be, I don't want to say neutral. It's not exactly what I mean, but like comfortable, like a comfortable field. So we're not trying to say necessarily that like no one's going to have those experiences, but if your calling is to help others, you're going to help people a lot more when they can get next to you, or they can feel safe with you, where they feel like you talk together and you have high conversations. And even if, you know, like, you know, we both struggle from time to time, or like something's going on in your life or something's going on in my life, we'll get it out, we'll hold the field for each other. And then we move on to talking about great stuff, you know, like, yes, validate, yes, get it out, but treat it as such. Treat it, I'm expressing this to get this out because I don't want to deal with this anymore. All right. Sometimes I just need to hear myself talk out loud to someone. And then the next day, things are already better, you know, because I just got it out, you know, like that kind of thing.
I think it's really important. And I know that we've mentioned this in past programs. You know, somebody just asked me yesterday, like, what do, you know, to take care of yourself? Like, who takes care of you? And the truth is, you know, shame on me. I don't allow others to take care of me the way I should, like, you know, to receive healings and things of that nature. But I do really go out of my way to take care of myself, I think, by nurturing myself. I love scent, as you guys know. I take, you know, aromatherapy baths. I indulge myself. I put candles on, you know, I just allow myself to really, you know, I do meditations in the bathtub, you know, like it's just like a whole ritual for me.
A foundation of your own practice. Yeah.
I think food is a great way of nurturing. I love food. I love to indulge in it, to enjoy the flavors, to nurture myself. Nature walks, conversations with, you know, with beloveds that are nurturing. You know, we could do a lot of things, you know, that makes us feel good, that sends the message, I love me, you know. And that's important when we're working on any level, you know, whether it's individual, professional, a platform, a healer, not a healer. You know, just feeding ourselves and taking the time to balance everyday life. And, you know,
people ask me that a lot too, because whenever I go to like a Reiki share or something like that, which I don't go often enough to those kind of things, but you know, have like the 5 people around me. I'm very lucky. I get to experience a lot of different people, but they'll just be like, you feel balanced. You feel really balanced. You know, like we're all sharing, or like, oh, I feel this here. You feel balanced. Like that's 99% of the time what people have told me, like every time I get like energy work done in that capacity. And it's because I talk about it all day. I think about it all day. I'm aware of it. I teach of it. I channel. I do Reiki every single day, or connect to channel energy every day, or I connect with I do something every single day that brings me back into the, you know, what Abraham Hicks may call like the vortex of this work. So like, how could I not be aligned? You know, like when your day is so full of being aware, doing those nice things for yourself, helping other people. That's where you're going to vibrate from. Yeah, like that's where it becomes
a natural state.
It does,
and the funny part is that when you step out of it, you know it.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. I'm like, what is up? What is this?
And that's a great feeling, by the way, that when you step out of it, because you're in that space, so, you know, most of the time, that when you have a moment, you immediately have an awareness that you're not
you're
in
like,
your place.
It's like, I forgot my jacket. Like, what? Like, it's just like very aware. Like,
yes.
oh, it's raining and I don't have an umbrella. What happened here? Like that kind of thing. Yeah.
And you know what? You said something important, because you do light work. You do these amazing videos. You have, distance sessions and things. So maybe some of the viewers are saying, yeah, but, I don't have the time to spend that amount of time. Well, we don't really need to spend that much time in order to get to that place. Obviously, when we do, then we're there most of the time. But just the little contributions that you make throughout the day, just being aware and doing the little things, whether it's meditation, some breathing, stone work. There are so many ways, that we can, bring this awareness to us.
It's a state of mind.
Exactly.
It's not just the energy itself. It's how are you handling the energy of the day, or, the curveballs that got thrown at you. If you're going to focus on it like, oh my God, this happened, and, that made me late, and then this happened, and my whole day got messed up because of this, then, that's an indication that your energy is not in a great place, or at least your mental plane isn't really activated to be like, yeah, but you know what? I have a choice to attach to it or let it go. And you know what? I'm going to use it as a stepping stone. And I'm going to move on, like that kind of stuff. I definitely have days. I had like a depressive period, like the past, like sometime like in the past couple weeks, where I was just like, sometimes I get depressed and I feel very angry. Like, it's not even just like, I've had like oh my God, I can't get off the floor. Depression definitely in my life plenty of times. But lately as an adult, it comes out more as like frustration, and anger almost, like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be stuck. I want it now, and it's like, stop, dude, what's your advice to yourself? Take your own advice, like chill, focus on the good, focus on what you can handle or what you have available. Make what you have work. I think that's like another thing that comes up a lot, where we're like, we feel like we don't have the tool, or we don't have the way to get there, or we don't have the relationship, or, it's not whatever we're working towards, like, is either too far away, or we don't have the means to get there. And like, it's never true, like, it's never true. Like, I said this in like a story recently, which like I'm going to have to do like a whole video about, maybe even like next Emerald Paradigm or something. But it was, and this is a bit sidetracked, but about making things work, like if I get lots of messages on like, how do you do this? How do you make video? What's this, that, all the stuff, and it's like, you just start. If you have a phone, just start with that. If you have a computer, just start with that. It's not about having like everything be perfect like that. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Am I saying that right? Like, so anyway.
And it's so important what you're saying, because people sometimes want a quick fix or a magic pill. And the bigger point, which is it's the journey. And it sounds kind of corny, right? But it's the journey that's the experience that gives you that feeling of accomplishment, of fulfillment, of, of purpose. And so as much as we want to, create shortcuts, the universe and your higher self is probably not going to always cut you the slack for those shortcuts, because every one of those journeys is so part of the experience of being able to look back
and make it good. Like,
right?
Yeah, if you don't have that lesson, then you're not, even if you have the best camera or whatever it is, that I'm kind of equating it to right now, it doesn't matter, because you didn't learn how to get comfortable in front of a camera yet, or you didn't learn how to do this, like whatever, like that kind of stuff.
Without a doubt. When my mom was here on earth, she would always, one of her greatest aspirations was to win the lotto. And she would always say, oh, if I won the lotto, I would give the three of you, which was her, myself and my siblings, money to buy a house, money to do this, money. And while it was such an amazing, beautiful aspiration from a mother, I would always say to her, but maybe we're not meant to just receive money from you that way. Maybe we have to work
for it.
And have the experiences. And of course, she transcended and she didn't win that lotto. And I'm glad she didn't, because there's a gift. There's many gifts that come as you process and move through the journey, through the steps. And nobody can take that away from you.
Yeah. That's like the highest grade of lesson ever, is to learn.
Nobody can ever take that away from you, that you accomplished or reached a goal. You completed something. The fulfillment, whether it doesn't matter what it is, anything, a job, school, education, bringing children, anything, any goal. There's nothing like it.
Definitely.
So don't try to cheat yourself out and trying to be too hasty or trying to learn how to get a shortcut.
Like the law of rhythm is going to catch up. Even if you feel like a shortcut works for a little while, like it's not going to hold out, because the law of rhythm is going to, like it's not a step then. It's like too great of a swing. Like too it just never really works out that way.
Well, the law of rhythm is going to try to bring always equilibrium.
Right.
And so if there's something that swings you to the extreme, now it has all that gap.
Yeah.
And it's going to stop
and when you fall,
somewhere.
You're not going to fall down the steps that you skipped over. You're going to fall, like skip that and keep going the other way,
Right.
Yeah. I have this, I had something to say and I'm losing it already. It was about growth and shit. I'll just let you go because I don't know. I don't know what it was. It's gonna come back to me though. It's one of those thoughts. But it was something I talked about recently with someone. Just like I know what it was. I think that people sometimes see like how far like Blanca has gotten or me, and I'm always trying to be cautious with that, because it's like you don't see all the times that I failed, and how much I value those failing lessons. Like I've started a DBA, I've started an LLC, now I have an S Corp now, but it's like I've failed at many things, like especially like self-employment kind of thing specifically for me, where it was like, first I started a company, I invested money to get a website built because like I can't do that kind of stuff. And it was for like, whatever, like it's not worth sharing exactly, but like didn't work out, didn't go, right? And then I had another business that was like handmade body creams and like, like more like organic, like whatever. Not for me, but like I had to pay money, start an LLC, got my, like I like buying supplies, doing this stuff, didn't work out, never really made any money off of that, like profit anyway. And now it's just like there's so much that you learn through all your failures. Like treasure your failures, treasure these things, treasure the trolls that set you off, that make you have a look once in a while, like get them out, like don't feed them, like don't feed into energy. Be like, wow, what did that person show me about myself? Wow, that I'm paying way too much attention to the negative comments and definitely not enough to the good ones. Thank you for showing me that. I'll work on that myself, kind of thing. Like just like extract what's good for you. Or like seeing Blanca like staying up late, writing those books, like it's not easy, like people try years, lifetimes to do one like little, what I'm trying to say? So it's like it's blood, sweat, and tears that get people where they're going.
It's commitment.
Yeah.
It's commitment to the calling and to yourself, and knowing that commitment is not going to feel great all the time. You know what I mean? That you're going to have to push through it, that there's going to be times when you feel like, freak this. Like I'm tired. I can't do this. And, and that'll pass. And tomorrow you'll wake up and you'll be recommitted again, because this is a life's calling for you, and just being in the experience. And, sometimes that's not easy. It's grueling again, because you have like that bipolar, but I want to hurry up and get there. I remember when I was writing my first couple of books, right? Like I just wanted to finish it, and then I would experience something. I would finish and I would feel this void, because now that baby was finished. And I started to learn that I needed to be in the experience of the journey. Yeah. That as I was writing the book, that was my experience, and that if I rushed through it, I was missing out on the greatest gift of creating that book. Because once it was done, now it wasn't mine. Now it was for everybody else. You get that, totally. Right? And so we learn how to be in the experience. And, that's such a, that's almost like another whole program, because we rush through life in so many different ways, through conversations, we take, trips, and we're not, we're rushing to get home, we're rushing to do the next thing, we're rushing. And we don't realize that, this is where that in the moment kind of thing comes. I don't know, sometimes I feel like people don't really understand what that means. Or there's different levels of in the moment. But do we really understand that the moment is your experience, and that is the equation of life? That if you're not present at the end when you're transcending, what you're going to take with you is the accumulation of all the experiences that you had. So that means that they have value. Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Did I get too deep there?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, for sure.
So looking into somebody's eyes and feeling them and holding their hands and just giggling and, crying when you have to cry and stomping your feet because it didn't come out the way you were supposed to,
Yeah.
These are all okay as long as you don't stay there.
Yeah. There has to be, like, for good and bad, detachment, detachment to, like, we can't control how people love us. We can't control how people hate us. We can't control things, like, so looking at someone's eyes and having a moment just because maybe that relationship might end and they might cheat on you 3 years from now, was that moment tainted? Or can we kind of, like, you know what I mean? Like, just appreciate things for what they are and understand that we're always in flux. We're always shifting. We're always growing. Like, that's part of it, Like, we look at that, everything. We see that with our tribe, like, it's definitely taken a very different toll at this point. Or, it's shifted a lot from where we started. Or just whatever, like, it has to change. That's the whole thing, We don't want to stay the same.
And all the while, you can still have those moments. Again, value the memories and know that they were part of your matrix of your experience. So you don't have to remain there. We do have to grow. But isn't that great? If, almost like the peacock, that every feather, imagine every little feather in the peacock is a representation of an experience, and the totality is what makes that peacock so incredibly beautiful. Imagine if it was missing feathers.
One, like...
right? Or maybe had 3, it wouldn't be as glorious and majestic, but it's in totality. All and in that beautiful opening, it has the good, the not good, the bad, the disappointment, the everything. I think that...
Yeah, that's about it, right?
Yeah, right? So we love, of course, to hear what you guys have to say. And we hope that what we shared today spoke to you in some way. We love to hear comments. I do. Yes. Yeah. And your thoughts. And what is happening? Well, 2 days from now is our Spring Holistic Expo. God, if you are in the tri-state area and you want to come out and join us, Luna and I will be on the expo floor. Come out at the Hilton Garden Inn in Staten Island. It is going to be amazing. We have a lot of new presenters on the floor.
I'm excited to see the new
people. It's always a new experience because there's always, new people. I have a feeling we're going to have a good crowd too. So
I hope so. I think people will be ready for spring,
Yes.
like getting out a little.
Yeah. Anything going on that you'd like to share?
Not particularly. No.
All righty then. So we hope that you have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you next Friday. Yes?
Yeah, next Friday.
I'm thinking because I know that we're doing a couple of things.
Yeah, no, I think next Friday, and then we're gonna meet out. You and I have plans to meet.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
See, we love you guys. Always leave you with our love, with our light, and with our peace. We'll see you next Friday. Have a great day.
Bye.
I knew. See, I'm glad you said that.